You're now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in
to the Juxtaposition Podcast. Welcome to episode 6 of the Juxtaposition Podcast, aka the Extraordinary Nobodies. My name is actually not Var today. I'm Travaris. I'm going with Travaris from now on. I think I'm just going to rock with Travaris. Yes, I'm the artist formerly known as Var, and I'm here with Cleveland.
What's up, man? How you feeling?
KV.
Yo, what it do?
And Zoe.
Yo, see Zoe, what's
up? So let's go into the what's the best thing that we've seen this week. Cleveland, start us off. What's the best thing you've seen this week?
Man, the best thing I seen this week was actually more of my family. So my family, as most people know, as y'all know, my family is super spiritual. So every Wednesday they have a prayer call where somebody, like literally somebody will sing, somebody will pray, and then somebody will give like a brief message during the week. So today my dad gave a message. So I got to see my dad virtually. He gave us a little inspirational message about slothfulness, about laziness. And what I took away from it, the way he presented it, I never thought of it before, which is laziness isn't just not wanting to do anything at all. Laziness is also not doing more when you know you're supposed to. And that really resonated with me. I was like, man, yo, that's kind of true. So that's the best thing I've seen this week and the best thing I heard this week so far.
Did y'all record that? Did y'all record that?
It wasn't recorded, nah.
Dang, I'm about to say, because I need to play that for some people around here.
So Cleveland say laziness is when you need to get your ass up and do these dishes.
That's why nobody want to go to church with you, Zoe, because every time the people say something, you be like, you know you're talking to you.
I was elbowing like you heard him, right?
That's hilarious. And so how about you? What's the best thing you've seen this week?
I think the best thing I seen this week was probably an opportunity for the SBA people decided to hit me up, and I might be eligible for some more money.
Hello.
So I filled out a new application last night, and I gotta wait 48 hours because they said, oh, you got 1099 employees. Is also just some new eligibility for that, as well as the W-2 ones that I got. So that was the best thing I seen because it was a message, and I was on it, and I just seen the opportunity though.
That's lovely.
What's SBA?
That, Small Business Administration.
Oh, okay.
So they got loans, they got all type of forgivable loans now with COVID. But before that, if you got a business loan from SBA, like your interest rate was like 2% or 3%. It wasn't none outrageous. You pay like you can get $100,000, and they'll say, "Yo, you got 10 years to pay it back."
Oh, that's
as
fire.
Opposed to like any of these other mom and pops, you get $20,000. They're like, "Yeah, you got to pay it back in 6 months."
That's dope.
That's fire. Congrats.
Because I heard of a lot of black businesses weren't getting their hands on that money. So it's good to hear of a black business that's getting it.
Yeah, so I got one, and I'm looking for the second round. So
hold on, but is Zoe a black business?
You already know.
Come, baby.
Have you ever seen these businesses merch? It's Black Power Fist, 40 acres in the
Thank you. All my jackets, all that.
Wow.
Exactly.
AKA Light Spike and shit. That's you. right at the game. Kev, how about you? What's the best thing you've seen this week?
Yo, the best thing this week, I actually got a chance to catch up with some black men on Sunday. Well, a couple of days ago, Monday. We worked out on the field, kind of got some movement in, but it was like a bonding moment. It's like most of them are like my former teammates from Morgan, and we've been like kind of like doing this black men movement, literally empowerment through just getting in shape, focus on our health, and we always work out, warm up, go through a workout. We incorporate a lot of football stuff because that's what we all did. And we always end it with a prayer. So like you see like a bunch of men circled around, kind of like arms over each other and forming a circle. And one of my homie 40, he kind of leads the prayer. And it feels empowering when you were like in the circle. And I can only imagine like what the people around us take away from that. And I always think about that when my head is bowed and my eyes are closed and I'm listening to the word. And it just feels good, man. Like we were kind of just building on this thing of like I said, coming together, empowering our community. Mm-hmm. It was cool. It feels good. It just kind of a good way to start the week too. So I've been kind of like putting some energy there.
Yeah, that's powerful to be there. Like I can imagine people observing y'all like, oh, these dudes is really like praying. Big, burly, sweaty black men with a football in his hand. You know what I mean? Praying. Right. It's like, this is a juxtaposition.
That's
where you,
yeah, sure.
So for me, the best thing that I seen this week, I would say last week, was like rest, bro. Like I got a chance to like rest. I've been running between side endeavors and my 9 to 5, trying to make sure that I advance and whatever. Because this is that season for performance reviews. So got to make sure that everything's buttoned up, tied up, make sure everything's all good. So last week we just spent doing all types of creative endeavors. I love to see when people are really making it happen creatively, like outside of your 9 to 5. Like that's something I really, really enjoy. So I mean, clearly this is what we're doing on the side. So it's kind of it's akin to what we are embarking on. So yeah, I would say creative people and some rest. I see some shut eye, some relaxing.
Nice. I will say too though, just thought about it. Well, shout out my sister-in-law, but she's like my sister now.
Okay.
Like, we super cool. She's just watching people like her like pray on things, work hard for something, and actually watch it come into fruition for them. It's always a good feeling to watch people like have a goal, have a dream, and go get it, and it actually comes into their manifesto form. I think that's powerful. So I want to shout her. I don't know. I guess I could say it. She's
do it.
Shout out to Rebecca though.
I like that you said that she knows it. Like it's nothing more powerful than like I can specifically say for Black folks, when you know you killing shit, it's like, oh nah, this is me. This is me.
Confidence is so important because confidence is not arrogance, right? Like confidence is just like knowing what your abilities are. Because it's a lot of prideful people who aren't arrogant, but they're still prideful because they look at themselves and be like, oh, I can't do that. When the focus is on you, it's still pride, whether it's arrogance or insecurity. It's the same thing. But that's dope, man. So shout out to Rebecca for Amazon.
Right.
It's great to see Black people, especially Black women, you know what I mean, doing their thing. So that's what's up.
I think confidence is like a form of self-love for real. Like
it's
important. It's like it's important. It's as essential as the other things that get classified as self-care. Like that confidence you need in order to make sure that you transition to the next level.
Absolutely.
Speaking of next level, I'm gonna bounce the ball to my man Zoe because he has some quick hits about some current events this week. What you got, Zoe?
I got some quick hits, some Zoe knows topics.
Zoe knows.
Yeah, we had a lot of Black Lives Matters in sports over the last week or two. I didn't really get a chance to touch on one of them 2 weeks ago, so I want to bring it up. First one, which was the oldest, was Bubba Wallace versus Donald Trump, where Donald Trump said he needed to apologize, calling the whole noose thing a hoax, which it's not a hoax because the FBI said, yes, it was a noose. So that already clears out the hoax. And I think Donald Trump should stop saying the word hoax because he said the coronavirus was a hoax and look where the hell we at. So,
even the real, we won't even need to talk about him.
He's next to that boom. But Bubba Wallace stood his ground. He said, and I've seen a lot of the other NASCAR guys who were not African American say, "Yeah, we don't need your support, Mr. Trump." So shout out to those guys who still supported Bubba Wallace, and he stood his ground. Next, we have some awkward comments by Deshaun Jackson and Steven Jackson. Which were viewed as anti-Semitic, and I don't really have too much of an opinion on it, but I do think these guys need to start using their money wisely and getting their publicist or whoever, hiring one or someone to speak on your behalf or something, because just tweeting and going off the cuff only one person is really doing that and getting away with it, and that's the President of the United States. I wouldn't recommend that for everybody.
He ain't really getting away with it either.
Yeah.
Look, the way that I feel is, let's look at Instagram, for instance. There are people who can't post anything without an Instagram filter. Right. You need to have a filter when you are a celebrity, in quotes. When you have some type of status, when you have people that follow you, you need to have a filter. You know what I mean? You can't just organically take what you think and assume that it's going to land in the masses. It's like,
exactly. It can't go straight from mind to mouth. Like, you need,
it cannot.
You got to bounce it off of someone.
Exactly. So next topic we have, this is very big. The NBA will be restarting soon, so they say.
Finally.
I'm not sure how this is going to work, though, because as you saw, Russell Westbrook came down with the COVID, as well as James Harden. So I think if LeBron James comes down with it, they're going to shut it down. So
oh, man.
I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I would like to see basketball.
And on top of that, people dry snitching, calling a hotline for people sneaking out of the bubble. You saw that?
Yeah, that's wild, son.
What?
It's a snitch hotline. They got a whole snitch hotline.
Speaking of snitching, of course, people are gonna get sick now because apparently there was something that was said that somebody got invited. An Instagram model.
Yo, she posted the text message. She said, "I just got invited to the bubble."
Yeah, I just got access. I just got that text.
She wilded out. Like, she lost her mind for that. Like, you lost all access for it.
Hold on, did she lose her mind, or did he lose his mind?
Nah, she did. You got disrespected. Like, come on now. Like, that's like getting invited to a party. You're not. Just show up and be quiet. Like.
Here's the thing. It's kind of funny, but it's kind of not, right? Because COVID-19 is serious. Like, it literally is a serious thing. And these people are only, I mean, they only got, what, 2 months there? 2.5 months?
Yo, at best,
it's
you'll
like,
be there till end of September.
Yeah, like, they got to chill with that, man, because they're putting other people at risk and then other people's families. And then it just, that's how the spread continues. So it's funny, but it's not. She had to blow it up like that, though.
Yeah, that's the part that
take a picture of the text, all proud. Like, I'm going to the bubble. No, you're not.
Did she go?
I'm on Disneyland.
I don't know.
I don't think she did.
Maybe that was the aftermath. I don't know.
Y'all see JR got reprimanded for showing too much. JR was he got to the bubble and he was doing like a little tour, like he was cribs and shit. And I think while he was on IG Live, he got a text that was like, "Nah, we got to shut that down." He was like, "Sorry guys, I gotta get off."
Taking some wild pictures too, like pictures of roaches, and they'll take a picture of the food and everything.
What's crazy is JR.
I don't feel bad for them. They rich. I mean,
but the crazy thing is, like,
I don't.
When do you become too old to keep doing the same stuff, JR? Like, come on, my dude. Like,
I think they on high alert.
Repeating these crazy actions.
I think they on high alert because JR is JR. Like, I think if JR was on the Cavaliers, he probably wouldn't have got in trouble because they know who he is. But this is his first 3 days on the Lakers. So they're like, JR, don't start your shit. Don't you dare start your shit.
They run a tight ship over there, apparently. So, yeah, man, folks got to chill out from inviting to work to the bubble.
That's crazy. How y'all feel about the NBA stars with the whole Black Lives Matters either on their jerseys? I saw it was on some of the buses during the practice. How you feel about that?
I'm not moved either way. Like, if that name on the back of if Black Lives Matter on the back of the jersey is going to save some lives, then maybe, sure. But at this point, we've been yelling Black Lives Matter so loud and people choose to ignore it. It's not going to make a difference if it's on a billboard or if it's on Anthony Davis's back.
I think that's one of the reasons why LeBron said he's not wearing it. He's like, y'all know who I am. I've earned my stripes. Like, fall back, get out of here. I don't want to hear it. So
at this point, it's like it's acceptable. It's acceptable. It's acceptable for businesses to back Black Lives Matter, right? It's like since every corporation is doing it, then it's okay for every corporation to do it. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like, oh yeah, we're really taking a stance because truth be told, the NBA needs black people like Nike needs black people like whatever other company that black people is mainly a consumer or entertainer in, like it's in their best interest to do it. Especially when you look at the NBA now, you got people who are going to be playing basketball in a bubble with just cameras and people in the gym. 2 teams, a gym, and some cameras. Yo, you literally got anybody can compete with the NBA right now. Big 3 can compete with the NBA right now. So the NBA needs to make a stance for black people because black people are the ones who are making them the money and black people are the ones who are watching. So, you know, you got to balance the good and the bad. I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm just saying you got to look at the landscape of their competition right now.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's a really
go ahead, Kev.
No, I was just saying that was a good point.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it from that perspective because I don't know if it's just me, but I think about the NBA like maybe I'm naive. I think about the NBA as like the good Samaritan amongst the companies that are just trash individuals. I could be biased in that regard, and you know, because they don't have to do a lot of the things that they do, but the major part of their stakeholders and constituents are black, both internal and external.
Well, Traverse, it's funny that you said that in comparison to the others, because what happened next was the Washington Redskins are changing their name. And that's the difference between the NBA and other leagues. As you know, the owner was reluctant and was tone deaf because not only did they, you know, he fussed for years about it. He finally sends a memo out that they're going to change the name. But then he sends it out on the letterhead with the old logo and says Redskins.
No.
Bruh.
Nah, son, I didn't know that part.
You couldn't get no blank paper. You're going to put the old, like, you got to have that one last dig. You feel me? You got to get one last thing. Like, we're going to go out with this Redskins shit. Like, seriously.
Yo.
On the letterhead, though? With the...
You can't tell me that wasn't intentional. Like, these people, this is an owner.
They're not stupid.
A billionaire, right? Like, you got to have billions of dollars to own an NFL team. Like, you're not that slow to where you didn't think about what you were doing before you did it.
I mean,
everything's intentional.
I don't know. A lot of those billions were just passed down from generational wealth. So a lot of those people really earned it. And remember the scandal with Harvard folks getting paying their way into Harvard. So we can't really call them smart. We just got to say they have resources.
They just have resources. That's a fact.
Yeah, I'm not a millionaire. I have resources. Yeah. Anything else you guys have?
Yeah, I had something about my team near and dear to my heart, being that my birthplace is Jamaica, Queens. J-Lo, A-Rod, J.J. Watt is a buying group are trying to buy the Mets.
Yeah, I saw that.
So they put a couple billions together. I think it should happen. And it sounds like ownership wants to sell it to them, but someone else, I forgot the guy's name, but he came and offered like maybe $5 more billion than them. So money talks, but I think if you're smart,
just $5 more billion. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. But I think if you're smart, you get they're New Yorkers. Like J-Lo and A-Rod played. A-Rod got a chip in the city for the crosstown rival. Like, I think it's the best thing you could do for the team, considering all the struggles they've had over the last decade.
And if you think of the intersection that J-Lo plays of being, she's from a marginalized group, she's Puerto Rican, and she's a woman, and Major League Baseball has not been the most inclusive place on earth. It may be in their best interest to have the head of a ownership group be a Puerto Rican woman. So
it's a good look.
It's kind of crazy that the optics have to be that way, but that's kind of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, man. Most of their talent comes from Latin-speaking countries. So I mean, they need to start and represent appropriately. If everyone needs to feel included right now in this moment. So I think I would challenge the MLB to take on that step. Actually,
I agree with you. One more thing. So I did see that a versus battle, right?
Oh man, I don't like this shit.
So listen. So I know y'all seen T.I. challenge 50 Cent.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a homer, so I would have to go with 50 on this one. I just feel like his hits just hit more of a larger scale, right? T.I. definitely has a lot of bangers, but I just think 50's his first album alone is just too heavy. And then we're not even talking about mixtape G. We're not talking about mixtape G and 50 before. I said I'm a homer, so I'm not sure. But it's not going to happen. However, I did see Snoop Dogg versus DMX is actually.
And I don't like it. And I don't like this.
How don't you like it?
I don't, just because they dogs. I don't give a fuck if they dogs. That
shit. Dogs.
I don't. It's not equal. Snoop will wash DMX, and he will wash DMX.
Listen. I'm a big DMX fan, right? But I'm an even bigger Snoop fan, and Snoop definitely has more longevity, like versatility. Mm-hmm. He got songs that just are like they're timeless. Snoop go
ahead.
But Snoop could get you hype too. When he played Death Row Snoop, where
Snoop went from Suge Knight to Martha Stewart, fam. What? Yeah. What? You feel me? Suge Knight to Martha Stewart? Come on, bro.
Yo, but Martha Stewart was crazy though. He did that show with Martha Stewart. It was one person on the show who was a convicted felon, another person who wasn't, and it was opposite. You know what I mean?
It wasn't him.
He got did the time. But yo, Snoop has that classic voice though. Like my grandpa, like if you turn on 1, 2, 3, it's enough.
Right.
It's like, oh, all right. Like it just sets a whole vibe. I agree. His catalog is just too extensive. Snoop should have went against like LL Cool J or somebody like that.
He said he didn't want to. They interviewed him. He was like, I'm not going against LL catalog. LL got me for 7 years in the game. I'm not doing that.
He didn't want to work.
I think the best matchup would have been Snoop versus Busta.
That would have been good.
Or are they saying Busta versus Missy?
Busta versus Missy are the same. That's the same thing. They're like the same people.
Busta and Missy would have to go video for video, not song for song.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Sure.
That's because true. But the thing about DMX and Snoop is like DMX had a space where he was the hottest thing on earth, right?
Man.
But
Diamond album.
After didn't we ain't hear nothing else from him. Like he just kind of. Me too.
You hated that song?
I hated it. I hated the fact that he was like doing the music with his mouth. I hated
it. He was his monkey.
Like, yo.
With my mouth, you know what I'm saying? Like, you brought it back.
Nah, man. DMX's first album, that joint is a classic. But I mean, that kind of like DMX kind of falls into the 50 category for me. Like, he had a crazy run. Like, when he was hot, he was hot. And then it was just like kind of.
I think them two should have
declivity. Huh?
You know, like, go ahead, so.
50 and DMX probably would have been.
That would have been more aligned.
It would have been real aggressive. I'm not sure where it was taking place, but everybody got to get pat down in that space.
Right.
I don't know.
They can't be in the same room.
Nah. But speaking of 50 Cent, did y'all see 50 Cent like rejoicing Nick Cannon's failure today?
How?
He's a troll, bro.
Nah, son. Like it's so. If I'm using my context clues, Nick Cannon and Eminem had issues because of Mariah. So I would assume that 50 has issues with Nick Cannon based on that correlation. Yeah. Right. So I saw that and like 50 is. I think I'm ready to just put him on timeout because I understand his psychology in terms of he's been an underdog his whole life. He's only on attack when he is attacked. And I think he's kind of gotten used to being on defense, which looks like offense to people who are not familiar with his story. But these days, because of his platform and his stature, it's tired, bro. Like, we can't continue to just let folks who we like one part of them just destroy the culture. Like, I'm tired of 50, bro. Like, me and Tiff have conversations all the time about like, you know, she don't like him at all. But I'm like, I mean, I get it, but like these days it's like, nah, 50 is
a lot of black women don't like 50, man. Like,
well, after his last comments.
Yeah, well, that, and then I think 50, like, he comes across as a bully. Like, yes. I feel like he pokes at people. You know what I mean? And then it's the timing of it is never great. Like, because he does so many great things for culture. Like, when you look at his catalog of work, just in general, investments, TV shows, music, everything. It's awesome. Yep. It's amazing what he's done. But then it's like times like this where it's just like, you don't really want to celebrate somebody's demise in this way. in this time too. To me, that's tone deaf, right? Like in this time and in this space.
Another black man who has
Right.
who has, there's an upper echelon of black entertainers that Nick Cannon happens to fall into, same as 50 Cent. So when you see people at that level in the same room, and like when you walk into the room, you're making fun of him, or you know what I mean? Like it's like that speaks to something different to me.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, I agree, man, because there's really not enough of us at that high level. So it's easily spotted when it's happening because of just like the lack of representation that operates in that high space like that. And he needs to be more socially conscious and aware. But, you know,
Facts.
I think the street in him is always on game and always on strategic thinking mode, and is always like more than is the next piece to a movement, essentially.
Some type of advantage he's probably thinking about.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of gaming, I would imagine, but it doesn't mean make it right. I think he just leveraged that all his career and how he's leveraged on other people's, whether demise or stature or whatever. He's always kind of been the person to, you know, Ja Rule or Gotti, like we can go on and on. That's just who he's been in this entertainment space, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So with that being said, let's dig into our first segment, which
wait, hold on. Sorry, I mean to interrupt. I did want to say one last thing.
Okay,
we're gonna get to Nick Cannon, but on one last thing, we just want to give a quick rest in peace to Naya Rivera because they did find her body. That was the last thing I had on the entertainment. It was sad. It was crazy. Just so many speculations and theories whether she committed suicide, something happened. She saved her son. Nobody really knows. We grew up watching her on Family Matters and all these different shows, Fresh Prince and whatnot. So we just want to give a big rest in peace or rest in heaven, whichever one you like to use.
Prayers to her family, family, friends, fans.
Yeah.
Now that's super unfortunate. Like even thinking about that just gives me like the, you know what I mean?
Chills, like, man. It's crazy because it's like people our age and legends are not living, but I mean, if you have to be optimistic of it, I'm just happy that, okay, well, at least they found the body. I know it sounds so super crazy, but
like the closure, though.
Family purpose, is like some type of closure. You know, they're never going to get complete closure because they never have a direct answer, but to not know and never ever retrieve a body is like driving you nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an unfortunate closure, but, you know, like I said, rest in peace to her.
Yeah, rest in peace.
That was a good cause for pause though. So thank you for that. Going back to the Nick Cannon thing, he got himself in some hot water recently on his podcast where he made some comments that some deemed to be anti-Semitic. And what we know of Nick Cannon these days is that he's a mogul. He is somebody who is a model for us to follow. And I'm not sure if anybody looks on TV anytime soon. They got Wildin' Out reruns on BET, VH1, MTV, and Wildin' Out has scaled itself from some regular TV show to like now their biggest player. But with him being in hot water, Viacom, who owns all those networks, actually fired him, which leads us to think, okay, so what's going to happen to the biggest show on their platform, on all their channels, which is Wildin' Out? And it gets me to thinking about ownership and entrepreneurship for us. And Diddy reached out to him allegedly to kind of, lend a hand and say, look, you're talented. Here's things that we can do together. But ultimately, he will have to walk away from something that he created, which is Wildin' Out, based on the fact that he doesn't have sole ownership of his platform. We have two business owners who on the podcast between Kevin and Alonzo. And I wanted to speak to y'all about what was the decision that you made in order to decide, like, you know what, I'm not relying on anybody else to feed me. I'm gonna go out there and feed myself. I'm gonna start a business, and I'm gonna operate from that sole perspective. Can y'all talk to me about like what ownership means to y'all?
Go ahead, Kev. You can take this one.
I was inspired by my father, actually. He came from out of the country, and he kind of got right to it, low key. And
what's the name of your business, Kev? Tell them the name of your business, tell them what you do, and then get into that.
My business that I am in charge of and operate is called UFit Republic, and it is a public health consultation agency. We provide services across the board from health promotion. We analyze data to drive safe play and to prevent injuries by kind of building with injury surveillance companies and agencies, i.e. NCAA, we currently work with. And
big moves.
We provide some, and we do international development and health coaching is kind of like our core value, our core service, coaching in the health space and environment. We do provide safety and injury curriculum and classes. So if you're a healthcare provider, if you're someone who works a community health worker, someone who's in the health space who needs to be certified, we provide online certifications. And community advocacy and public relation is our focus. It's kind of like our role in our company. So my dad kind of drove me to, he kind of put the seed in obviously as a child, but I think it didn't really connect until after, and this is funny that Zoe and I is on this call because we both had like a Senlar run, and that was like my last real company that I kind of worked with, which is for people who don't know what Senlar is a mortgage banking service company, and we pretty much work with the real estate industry, and we provide a lot of administrative work, and that was like the last go. That was the last sit for me. It was kind of like I started. That's kind of when I found public physical activity fitness training. I brought in those skills from just like my experiences over a couple years of playing in the sports space. Got as far as D1, didn't go anywhere farther than that. But then I just saw the lane, and from there, the lane kind of grew into a broader spectrum, not just focusing on fitness, but focusing on health and all aspects of it, right? So, I definitely think it's an important skill set. I think entrepreneurship is a skill set that everyone should try to cultivate and learn and develop. It provides additional resources and streams of income for you and your family. It gives you ownership, right? Obviously. And one of the ways that I would suggest for folks to kind of get into entrepreneurship is called intrapreneurship. And that is kind of like working with your company and to develop your innovative idea or project that will enhance the company's future. And entrepreneurship is generally giving someone autonomy to work on a project that may have considered impact on a company. And then over time, you can take that entrepreneurship skills that you use and apply it to maybe a competitor or to maybe or what have you, and there's no law to say that you can't do that. You just have to set yourself up properly as a W-9 employee and trying to find a way to adjust to a 1099 employee at your workplace. And those are the ways that I think people can allow themselves to use a platform which provides them support to kind of help them launch their business. And I think I think we touched on something earlier today, which is about imperfections. And Cleveland had brought that up earlier during our outside conversations. And that's the thing about business, right? Everyone, no matter what business you operate, you're going to have a different business than someone else because of the person, right? The imperfection of who you are ultimately is the thing that makes you who you are, and that's the thing you cultivate. That's the thing you expand on, and imperfection is the balance between the good and the bad. Is the in between is the thing that makes you who you are, right? So everyone is unique. So everybody in this world, if this country decided that they're going to invest in entrepreneurship, that'll probably generate more economic power to the country. And I think everyone would be able to provide a unique service or some type of model to because everyone is different. So I would recommend, I think everyone should kind of learn some hustle, and entrepreneurship can start like you got a 9-to-5 and you're passionate about something and you start slow and you build on top. And So yeah, man, I just, like I said, to kind of like circle it back, my dad kind of inspired me. He started his own business, and I just watched him move over time and watched him sacrifice, watched him, and kind of like he enabled some core competencies, and that we took away from learning, but we're still learning. I think another last piece is the biggest part of entrepreneurship is your network, and your network is probably one of the most powerful things that are going to advance your career as an entrepreneur or as someone who's looking to innovate thoughts in space or creativity in the space. And it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. Realistically, it's not about who you say you know, it's about who hits you up and who calls you and who's asking you for advice and who's, what value you bring to them. So as much as you know somebody's like what value do you bring to them for them to say, I need so-and-so in my corner. So, those are the things that I think entrepreneurship can be easy as selling a t-shirt.
Oh shit! Thanks for the alley-oop. Thanks for that. Because before I pass, I am in the entrepreneurship space. I work 9 to 5, and that's funding my endeavors to want to be a full-time entrepreneur one day. One thing that we have to also acknowledge is our podcast is also a business, and we also operate from the space of we just figuring this shit out as we go along, and it's fun to fix the plane while it's flying. But on the t-shirts aspect, my t-shirts it's my last name Fauntleroy. It's Fauntleroy.store, FAUNTLEROY.store. You know what? Just for fun, if you're listening to this, you know what? We're gonna give you 20% off with the promo code.
Let's go.
VAR. Go to Fauntleroy.store. If you like what you see, promo code VAR and see if we can grab some people. But I'm gonna pass the ball back to Zoe because Zoe is also a full-time entrepreneur, but also somebody who used to work a 9 to 5 and now runs his business full time. So Zoe, tell me about your experience.
I want to say thank you because Bar usually does not pass the ball to me. I usually bring up the ball and pass it to him, but hey. Things change, right? Life goes full.
We get older, you got to figure things out.
You get more mature. Things.
Right.
So anyway, shout out to Kev too, because that was a good. I never knew the deep end of it. Kev always. I hate following him because his shit make you think outside of space, and I'm like, damn, my shit mad shallow. Like I just did it because I'm tired of hearing niggas talk to me. Like, but real talk. Like, so. And shout out to Senlar folks, because me and Kev grinded in that customer service arena where we did that. Like, it was to the point where we had like half-hour lunch breaks, and we would literally eat lunch in 5 minutes, bring lunch, and then sleep for like the other like 25 minutes in the car. Like straight grind mode. We stayed up late, all type of crazy stuff, right? So that was we got videos of each other like falling asleep during training class, like crazy.
Epic
Those
videos.
Things, like Kev said. That honestly helped make us, because it was like, yo, hell no. There's no way in hell I'm doing this forever, right? We laughed about it. We joked about it. We was in our early 20s, but him and I both looked like, nah, this can't be life. Like, this is not us. It might be for some people. I'm not knocking it. It's just not for me.
Yeah, there's no knock to nobody. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just certain things are for certain people. That just wasn't for me. Now, I transitioned that to, damn, y'all, I worked with every one of y'all except for James, the only person I didn't work with. But VAR worked with. Remember, we worked at Things Remember.
Things
and
Remember.
Cleveland, we worked together a couple of times.
Yeah, Foot Action.
Foot Action, and then we worked together in the corporate world after we graduated college. So when I worked with Cleveland was when I started coming up with the form and the plan of doing my own business. Because, and he can attest to this, the stuff that I was going through at that job. And it was like, they must have been like, all right, it's too many of y'all. Like, somebody, we're gonna put the pressure on him because he'll get out. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't know what their reasoning was, but they didn't really treat me too well, right? I'm happy though, because I said, yo, Cleveland, come through. He comes, gets the job, and he's taken off to a higher level that I probably would have never done. So I'm happy about that. But he knows the certain subtle nonsense that people put you through in corporate America. It didn't really mesh with my personality. So like,
you don't say.
There are worker bees, and then there's like, I mean, there's order takers and order givers, right? So I was raised in a house by a very strong order giver, my mother, right? And
one of the best.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I think for me, I can take orders. I can definitely do so if I had to, but my mind has to be there. But my natural state of mind is to take charge and to kind of take over. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm like, yo, don't worry, I got it. I'll push somebody to the side like, I got it. You know what I mean? Whether it's passion, even playing ball, like Var, you know that. Like, I may not shoot the shot, but I got this. Let me bring this up. I'm about to cook this dude, and you're gonna be wide open. Like, I always had the plan, and I seen it because that's just me, right?
Yeah, you have the strategy. Got to make sure the strategy is in place. You got to see the play before the next play. So, you know what I mean? Even bringing Cleveland in was a strategy in order to make sure that you have harmony, so you don't fuck somebody up.
Yeah, one thing I definitely don't want
to. That's an accurate assessment, because I definitely would have fucked somebody.
Yo,
and
it got intense during those meetings.
What did you say?
No, I was just saying it got intense during some of those meetings. It was just like knowing Zoe and knowing who he is. It's like corporate world is definitely different. Like, you got to know how to navigate through corporate culture. And not that Zoe didn't know, because he knew. He just was like, nah, I'm not doing this at all. But one thing I don't want to get lost, though, is something that both Kev and Zoe both said, which is so crucial. And we saw them do this, is the amount of work, the work ethic that they both have,
right?
And how that plays an important part of entrepreneurship. I remember when Zoe first started launching off on his own, he was pulling all-nighters to get his paperwork straight for his business, his accounts, his licenses that he had to get, making sure he had his healthcare straight for his employees. All-nighters. Like, it was like
the commute alone, day in and day out, was wild. But before we go any further, Zoe, can you tell us what the name of your business is and what you do? Because I'm on
the name of my business is LNC Services Corporation. But I'll say we, because I have a good team behind me. We provide construction sites with security, fire safety, some labor work, and essentially my motto is to give more job opportunity to those who look like me. Because in that construction arena, there's a thing called gentrification. And a lot of times what happens is they will buy up a plot of land, a block, a section of town or whatever, and build all this stuff and push people who look like us out. However, we don't even get a chance to work. Like, if you're going to push me out, where am I going? At least let me make some money to go to the next place where you're pushing me to. So at least let me work on the site. You see what I'm saying? So I got an MBE, which is a Minority Business Enterprise Certificate. And in New York City and New York State, I have two of them. And I also have New Jersey. And the governors are recommended, as they say, a percentage of business in that construction arena to Black, minority and women. They also have a veterans one too. But they give a sector of the business to minorities or women, and they're supposed to do a certain percentage based off of the project amount or the size of the project. So some projects might say you need to fulfill 28%. Some might say 15% if it's a smaller project, or 10% towards MBE goals. And that is to enforce that, not just hiring Black people as, yo, my man, go sweep on the corner or go take this trash out. No, it's to hire Black contractors or minority Black and Hispanic contractors. Because that's what creates the generational wealth. That's what creates the, not just me working, punching the clock. My community can make more money if I'm making more money direct, not just I'm clocking in and I'm going to work and coming home.
Yeah, you're not getting dollar for dollar for the same kind of sweat equity you're putting in.
The markup. So like they might, for my position, let's say as a fire safety manager, right? If you work for such and such company as that, you're not getting the 40.
Right.
You're getting the 20 or 24 or something like that. So that extra $20 an hour, which can go a long way, which is a whole nother somebody's salary, can come to me and my family and then pass on. And or my brother, I might say, hey, Var, I need, or Kev, I need you to, which I am going to do now that I have a new staff. I can now pass the money that I'm now making to pay for Kev to do CPR training for all my staff, for my security guards.
Yeah.
Or, Var, I need you to make my T-shirts or my uniforms. It's just side hustle. Here, I could put it. But I can now allocate the money to where it needs to go. But if I'm working directly for the person, I don't have anything to allocate other than to my bills. So that's why the MBA is important. But that's pretty much what I do in a nutshell in the construction industry. I pretty much force people to hire people who look like us that they wouldn't normally. And me specifically versus everyone else, my employees are, I have no problem hiring ex-cons, felons. I've had people on work release. I have about 3 employees right now that are in a shelter. I write letters. I've helped people get cars, apartments, whatever it is. So my goal is to change the narrative, not just by talking, but by doing it on the ground level. These are the people that just get out of jail and they can't get a job or they can't. So I'll hire, because there's only one thing or 2 things, so to speak, which to me are kind of like one, that I won't hire you for if you went to jail for, is rape and like some type of molestation. That you ain't working for me.
No,
if you sold drugs,
Chief.
hey, some people had to. You know what I mean? It doesn't bother. I would hope you don't do it now.
The government's selling drugs now.
But
the government's selling drugs right now.
None of that stuff bothers me. Exactly. They trying to find a new drug to sell to flip to something for coronavirus. But I had an employee who did 25 years in prison for a murder. But it was a crime of something that I would have done. You know, somebody do something to your family member, your relative, a female at that. You know, sometimes you just take it a little step too far. But that didn't bother me. People are like, yo, you hired somebody who murdered someone. I'm like, he ain't murdering me. I ain't do nothing to him. I'm hiring him. Like, I'm helping him. Like, you know.
Yeah,
and
the importance of ownership, though. Like, you can make that decision as to who's going to work for you. You know what I mean? Like, since you're the owner, you don't have to abide by any unspoken rules of who can and can't be hired. You make those decisions, and that creates the generational cycle that we need. So now that person has breaks the generational cycle. That person has a job. Their kids are seeing them with a job. Their kids aren't seeing them not being able to find a job or going back to jail for doing the same thing that got them in the place. You know what I mean? So that's important, man. I wanted to like hone in on that because that's not something that a lot of people do. And it shows the importance of ownership and the importance of your character as well, man. So like these 2 guys work hard. Like I'm just going to throw that out there. They work hard for what they do and the money they bring in, and they have a good mission statement behind everything that they do in terms of impacting the community. And I just have a question for y'all. Like, how important is your mission and your own personal values? How important is that to you in the way that you do business?
I would say that Zoe definitely mentioned something. I'll answer that question, and I will because I'm actually thinking about that. But I definitely want to highlight a couple of things that Zoe definitely said about what he has. And I think a lot of the innate things are leadership. We all have leadership. For the most part, I think all of us are leaders, right? And that leadership gene or DNA won't allow you to settle or devalue yourself because you know that you would be the one to go hunt if we were out in the jungle. If we were all like having to take care of our family, we would be the ones to go out there and make it happen because we all have that gene. So leadership is definitely an important attribute that Joe portrays. And as he said all of that, it really just boils down to just leadership, you know, and But to answer your question, my mission is to inspire and innovate the world to become healthier, and our vision is to pretty much help the world move well. And move well is a conundrum, but between physical movement and how you navigate the world and how you navigate the space that you operate in. Mm-hmm. And there's ways to kind of like manage. And health is a very important, health is a very important thing that we probably have to focus on, and we all should focus on it. So it helps me because I think ultimately it helps align my purpose. So as I think about who I am, I think about myself. I always I hate talking about myself, but when I do, I kind of get proud, low key, because I've overcame. Like it's like you overcome a lot. You go through adversity, you go through challenges, and all those things that you go through make up who you're going to be and how you're going to move. So I don't take anything for granted. I appreciate all the things I've gone through. So I've always found myself to be a motivator in some degree. I always found myself playing that role or wearing that hat. I love referencing some of the things that was said earlier, man. And Cleveland, again, I got to bring Cleveland back on and highlight him because he had a conversation with his dad about laziness. And that to me, it's almost a disease, man. And I hate being around it. It kind of makes me feel some kind of way because as a human being, we are all given an opportunity to be our best self, and when you settle for less than you are supposed to give to the world, you discredit the people that look up to you, that admire you, and it's it's a thing. So I think with all that being said, definitely kind of saw the inspiration, and it kind of reminds me of the things that I need to do as a person. I see myself as a leader. And the innovative aspect of it is I like to create. I think I call myself a creator or a creative in a way. And most of that comes from the idea that I don't like to do the same thing over and over. I like redundancy. And that's a lot of the reasons why I wasn't successful working at in a different space. It's because of the task that I was given. It was
like a hamster wheel. You continue doing the same thing over and over.
And if I would knew better at the time, if I was a more of an entrepreneurial state of person at the time, I would have created my passion through the job, and I would have been able to excel that way because now I'm attaching it to a structure. But it's just that kind of drives the innovation aspect of the statement. So it ultimately comes into space where it becomes your vision is it's the way you wake up and live throughout the day. And if you can't live through that within the company that you own or create, then you're going to quit when things get hard. You're going to give up when things aren't going your way. And when you reach an issue, a trial or tribulation, and you won't be able to persevere through that because it doesn't align with who you are. So it's very important to align the mission to who you are as a person.
So can I just chime in here? So what I'm hearing, and I think what it's important for a lot of people to hear is it's not just about the bag when it comes to entrepreneurship and ownership.
You got to be taught to something bigger.
You want to hear something real talk? Yeah, real talk. The bag is based off of years and years and years and years of work. And years and years and years of building relationships. Because as an entrepreneur, you're just creating, and there isn't no real bag because you're creating a business, right? You're creating a business and you're not creating a job or work, right? Because the difference between that is if your business can't operate without you, then you're going to work, then you're working, bro. And if you're not thinking about creating something that's going to be able to mobilize without you having to be there or without it depending and relying on only you, then you're going to find yourself really upset. Ultimately, you're going to get scrapes off of the bottom dollar because you're essentially creating a thing that's going to develop its own thing. And you kind of are going to get the leaks, the faucet leaks. You may get an 8 ounce, what's it called? The quarter water. You may be able to fill that up, but the idea is to fill that up over time. And then to take the case and apply that case to something different. And it's a reoccurring thing. So the bag doesn't come until little later, but when it does come, you have to pretend that it's not even there because you're not giving the opportunity for your business to grow, and the growth is the most important piece of that.
And I think that I'll chime in here too. I think going back to Cleveland's initial point of the mission being tied to the everyday values of what you're doing, I think if your mission isn't strong, when the bad comes, you'll stray. It's easy to take that first exit when you're on the highway to kind of get there, as opposed to like, this isn't where I'm supposed to go. And I think what they say, all money ain't good money. I mean, fast money ain't good money. Yeah, so it's like, and even this podcast right here, and our mission is to amplify the voice of the modern Black man. If we stray away from that, then we're going against what we need in order to service the community.
Sure.
But yeah, so go ahead and talk to us about your mission and how that ties into your everyday values.
For me, my mission is to kind of be like Robin Hood. Like, instead of stealing from the rich, I'm holding the rich to a contract. I'm obligating the rich. That's what I'm doing. I'm not stealing it, but I'm making them give it to us because that's just what is owed to us. That's what we're entitled to. I think I want to also like give, I guess, opportunity and change the narrative, right? So if I can change the narrative by changing the people mindset of us, like I really wanted, and when I first started, I really wanted to like save the hood. But I realized you can't save everybody, right?
Sure can.
Some people are just supposed to be where they at, and that's it. But I can always leave that situation saying, I tried. I never, you know what I mean? Like, I will feel guilty if I never made an attempt. But I made an attempt. The person wasn't receptive to the water that I brought them to. They didn't even want to drink it. You're on your own. But I can live with my
water.
Huh?
Remember what you said that you can bring a deer to water.
Can't force it to drink.
People just be having the wrong phrases out of their sayings.
Yeah.
Bring a deer. I ain't never seen a deer drink water in my life.
I know, right? That's not even a thing.
That's not even a thing.
Oh God! But I will say,
deers drink water.
I haven't seen them.
I'm talking about the saying.
That's not a thing though. Like, I know deers get hit by cars because I hit one of them. But yeah, like I would say that's pretty much what my motto was to help pretty much change the narrative and flip from what its original or what people think of us. So part of my hiring is not just hiring them. Like I've helped the guy who's 48 years old open his first bank account.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to teach at the same time, which is hard. I'm not a good teacher. I'm not my profession. But just try to show them something different. And like you guys said, if they're generational, you're ending that curse. So now that guy who's 40 or 50 or whatever, how old he is, goes and gets a bank account, and now he can teach his kids something that I taught him, and they could continue it over and over and over. So that's pretty much what I do. It's just, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Y'all know I call y'all. I'm stressed. It's hard to help to change a person or try to change a person's mindset. Is like, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. None of that. But I'm not even a social worker. But I'm doing social work.
Right.
So that's the hardest part.
And something else I want to highlight is the fact that Zoe didn't speak to it, but your dad is an entrepreneur. And I think Kevin and Zoe, y'all had the opportunity to observe what entrepreneurship means, the good, the bad, the ugly, probably in the age where you couldn't even spell entrepreneur. So I think those pieces are important because for me, I have aspirations of being an entrepreneur, but I am learning what it means from like, I don't know, from
experience.
Like, yeah, I'm learning how to do it as I figure it out. It's like, that's not the best move. And for me, going back to that thing that Kev was saying about perfection, or Cleveland said about being a perfectionist, you have to be okay with fucking up as you go along. Like, that has to be a part of the plan. Like, it's never going to be perfect. You got to just do it. And once you do, then it becomes easier. But also, Cleveland, I don't want to leave you out. I know that your family has a catering business, and I know you're well invested into that. Like, you were also there when they began the business. Like, what have you observed from your parents in terms of building the catering business?
What my parents taught me is it's never too late. So when I was in college, actually, two things happened. My parents opened a clothing store. They literally had a clothing store inside of this market that was only open on the weekends, on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, and they had their own clothing store because they just always wanted to own their own business and pass something down to us. Eventually, they veered away from the clothing store, and my mom she retired, and she started her own catering company because it's like one of those things like, Var, you are always into fashion. Kev, like you were into health and just naturally good at it, and then you naturally have a calling towards it. Zoe is good at building people and building things, and now he's into construction. So it's like with my mother, she was always good at cooking, but what my parents did is they never neglected the things that they may have thought were small, but they were naturally good at, and they just figured out ways to monetize it. So
powerful stuff.
My mom, like, she's a great cook, and she could always cook. And she was like, well, everybody tell me my food is good. Why don't I try selling it? And then that's where the catering came from. And then my pop has always had a side hustle. And like, people don't see it as a side hustle because he likes doing it because he's a musician. And he doesn't just play in a band, but he also does weddings. He also does funerals. He also does, like, that is a space where you can make money from your natural. And I saw that all along the way. So like for me, my parents always have like embedded something in me, like, use what you have. Like, none of your gifts are small. None of your gifts are too small to figure out a way to make money from it. And it's never too late to start. They were in their late 40s, early 50s when they started their businesses.
Yeah. So, and I can speak to, hold on, okay, let me step in for 1 second. I can speak to the direct impact. I have directly been impacted by Cleveland's parents' business because when my mom passed away in 2016, they really catered the repast for free, not a dime. And I think that speaks to Kev talking about relationships, but also the camaraderie that we all have here. Whereas not only y'all, but your parents stepped in to help me in a time that was so crazy traumatic that we are being benefited from. That's passing the things down, knowing how we can observe Kev's dad coming in and out. You know he's busy. We see Zoe's dad in the home office at the crib. We know that like he getting to it. So like we had these observations of not only us but our family members in terms of building wealth, wanting to be entrepreneurs and things of that nature. So if Cleveland, if your parents is listening, tell them I said thank you. I'm forever indebted to that moment.
Oh, for sure. I'll let them know.
Yeah.
No, man, I think that's powerful, man. And I think one of the key things that I think Cleveland, your parents exemplify is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that's probably like the biggest thing. You got to be prepared to, you have to embrace discomfort and look at it as ways to embrace that and challenge yourself to adapt. And with ownership, with entrepreneurship, obviously the results of that is ownership. To be honest and open about it, my dad missed a lot of games, and that I kind of had a little bit of wisdom too growing up to understand the difference, understand what he was doing and sacrificing. But honestly, I can remember times, bro, when I was emotionally affected by that, but ultimately, like I said, you recognize what you recognize in the life that you live in. But with ownership, wealth obviously gets created, legacy obviously gets developed, and then freedom, is established because, those are the key three things I think that ownership does provide. And, and entrepreneurship is a mechanism to get to those three things. So,
Kev, you
shout out to your family, man.
Kev, you spoke on something that I want to wrap up this part because I think that we are the Juxtaposition podcast. Whether there's good, there's bad. To wrap up this part, Kev and Zoe, can y'all tell me about some of the sacrifices you had to make and have to continue to make in order to make sure that your business is taken to the next level?
I could start that off. Well, sacrifice sleep. There's nights where I have to do invoices, and I don't have anybody else that's an assistant for me, right? So I am the finance person. I am the scheduler. I am the banker. I do everything for myself. I do bids for contracts, and those are the nights where I'm up all night because I have to gather my paperwork, gather your documents. They want to know last 3 years of this, and even applying for business loans. Get your bank statements together, get your last year's taxes. It's just a lot that I think. Luckily, I'm a little bit more organized than most because I have everything in like folders on the laptop, but it's still.
AKA CEO is
All day. That's who I am. So it fits, but I would say I'll sacrifice some time. Sometimes I get up 4:30 in the morning. I'm out 5 o'clock to hit New York. And there's been times where I've done overnights at the job if somebody calls out and I'm stuck and I have to do stuff. But I try to have balance. It's just my nature, as a Libra. But sometimes that just doesn't happen because you have to grind out. Like Kev said, some of that stuff comes later. So there might be 3 or 4 consecutive days where I really get like 6 hours of sleep total.
Right.
And a lot of that I sacrifice with that. With the kids, sometimes I am busy and they're jumping on me and this, and I'm like, yo, chill. Like, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do whatever. So those are the nights where I pull all-nighters because I'm like, all right, let me chill. Let me give them a little time, get them tired, and then let me go get this 5-hour energy shot, and then I'm stuck. So the most thing I would say I sacrifice is my sleep. Also, being that I run overnight, like a 24-hour business, there's times my phone rings and like 2 in the morning if the alarm is going off, something crazy is happening. And then my wife's like, if you don't throw that shit out the window. So I do sacrifice some stuff like that. And they're like, you're always on the phone. I'm like, I'm not just leaving talking. You know what I mean? It may sound like that, but I'm actually communicating with someone, networking, or doing something. So I would say more so sleep is one of the most things I sacrifice. And then a little bit of family time does. I try to balance as much as I can, but family time does have a strain on it.
What about you, KV? What's your points of sacrifice with your business?
Well, one of the things you hear about when you do something you love, you never really work a day in your life, right? You hear that. And so as I try to wrap my head around the sacrifices that I experience, it's not so much of I've kind of adapted low key to the sleepless hours, sleepless days. I'll sometimes pull 24 hours. Some days it's a 40 hour, but of non-sleep. But then, most of that is being driven by passion. So you don't really feel that until you completed the assignment, you completed the deliverable, and then you just rest the next 2-3 days or whatever it is. So those are the benefits. But I say the sacrifices that I think I've kind of observed or experienced was instant gratification. You sacrifice that. You sacrifice meaningful relationships sometimes, unfortunately, because you are doing one thing and it doesn't really satisfy the overall group, and sometimes friendships and meaningful friendships are tarnished because of you're just veering off to a different direction, and you sacrifice. I think those are the big 2 things, and I would add that I would say like the vision idea, because not everyone understands your vision, and it's like you have to sacrifice sometimes proving yourself right, and however you can do that. But to me, those are the big 3 things, man. I think instant gratification, got to think about sacrificing that, especially for our generation and the generation behind us specifically, right? And you sacrifice sometimes, relationships. And I think ultimately what I've learned is that meaningful relationships will always, come and stay and be there. And the ones that don't, the ones that don't, stick around or make it or go through the transition with you, that's okay too. Like everybody has a time and a purpose in your life, and you have to learn to embrace everybody. And I just had a moment I just share real quick, and I hope somebody special listens to this. But, you know, I feel like we all go through different experiences with people, and you learn that, you know, what's right, what's not right for you. The relationship sometimes doesn't have to always end in a bad note, meaning there's a lot to take away from the people that you come across into in life. A lot of good things to take away. I think the best thing is to look at everybody that you came across as an experience, as a development moment, even the ones that, you know, are left on sour. I would even stress to try to mend those, you know, learn to keep distance, but something to be said about not burning bridges. You know, I'm not saying that I have people that I would consider that it would be hard to me to kind of reconnect given certain circumstances, but there's no love lost, right? It's like, I still want to see you do great. There's no hate in my blood. And I think that's another thing too. Like, you can't be a hater. You know what I mean?
Man, you cannot, man, look, you cannot be a hater, bro. Like,
you can't be a hater.
I would imagine, especially as somebody that owns a business, you should actually be learning from people and learning how to build those bridges, because it's those networks. If you can easily cut someone off for a small indiscretion, how can you then translate that into doing real business? I'm sure that y'all both had to do business with people that you don't really enjoy all the time. Right. It's just a necessary evil in order to get to where you got to get to.
Yeah, man.
But yeah.
That's the thing. I even sacrificed. I had a bad situation happen to me in the beginning of the year, and I literally had to sacrifice going to my man's wedding. Like, it was to that, or like I could have been homeless. like some shit really went down really, really bad. A large sum of money was pretty much snatched from under me, and like really bad deal happened, combined with the lawsuits that I'm suing other people. It was just like a tornado
lot of money tied up.
Yeah, like I was like, come on, you know what I mean? I was tight. I was hurt because I pride myself in making everything. Y'all know that. Like, I pride myself in, like, if somebody give me heads up, I'm there. Like, that's just me. Like, I'm the king of support. You know what I mean? So I was really upset and tight when I couldn't go to the wedding, and I was like, that shit really hurt me, probably more so than it hurt Kev, because it's like it didn't sit well with me. But it's like, yo, the shit that I went through is like, I literally might not be in a home. I might have had to move my whole family to my parents' crib.
Yeah, man.
Like,
no love
based
lost.
off of the shit that happened to me.
Yeah, no love lost, man. No
and I
lost.
appreciate that. And I persevered through it. Things happened. You know what I mean? I got out the hole. Like, a lot of things happened for a reason, but it was like what Kev was saying, was that fight through, and not quitting, and staying focused, and not worried about the bad, but just worrying about the learning experiences and getting to the next level.
Yeah, I'd say like with the hater is like racism and the word hater synonymous to me.
Facts.
Like, you know, it's like super synonymous.
Definitely it is.
What you got? But to wrap this part up, what I hear is obviously achievement in any field of human endeavor.
Yo,
I hear. Got to make sure you persevere, but also the grind don't stop. Whatever pressure's being applied now is to take y'all from coal to diamonds, and y'all are on y'all way to being the men that y'all are aspiring to be. So yeah, as we really wrap up this topic, I want to give everybody the opportunity to go around and talk about one actionable item that folks can learn from what we just shared. So you can pop it off.
I would say one actionable item is to persevere. Like, to just don't quit. Keep, like, I guess, tunnel vision. Grab the bull by the horns. Whatever phrase you want to use. But just fight through whatever storm is coming to you, but don't quit on your, like, whatever your dream is. Like, it's not failures to not do it, to me. You know what I mean? If I tried it and it didn't work out, it's not failure to me, because I tried something and I lived it. To not try is like, you don't want to live with the what ifs. So I just say persevere through it, whatever it is, organize it, and just do it. Like my man Martin said to Wallace, ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Cleveland, how about you? I know you gave us one earlier with the it's never too late, but you got any more of those?
No, just in addition to that, man, just maybe compounding what I said earlier is just there's anything that you can do well, you can monetize. Like, don't think of it as too small. If you're a good public speaker, maybe you can be a motivational speaker. Maybe you could be a corporate trainer. If you are a musician, there's tons of ways to make money. Whatever it is that you're good at, you can find a way to monetize it, and you can really create another stream of income, and maybe even become your primary stream of income if you just pursue that.
Bet. Okay, bring us home. What you got?
I would say your first time doing anything is going to be the worst that it'll ever be. Like anything that you've done for the first time, you're always going to look back and be like, man, I was terrible. Think about it from just talking publicly on social media. You hear yourself, you're like, man, I sounded terrible. But it's always going to be the worst. The first time is always going to be the worst. So get past through that, and get better every day. Focus on getting better every day. So to kind of pay you back on Zoe, like nothing to it but to do it. Pretty much just do it, try it, and create a network for yourself. Start looking for help. Start asking for mentorship. Start asking for help. So don't be afraid to ask for help, rather. And so that's it.
I appreciate y'all giving these gems. It's almost as if we're at a Red Table Talk. Speaking of Red Table Talk, oh man, it's a lot of shit going on at that Red Table, boy. And if you are a frequent flyer here at the Juxtaposition Podcast, you know a couple episodes ago we had our episode called August Starts the Summer. And it's still hot. I tell you that much. It's still hot. So I guess the word of the summer right now is entanglement, right? For those who have been living under a rock, it seems as if, it's been confirmed that August Alsina and Jada Pinkett Smith did have a relationship within her marriage. But I don't know if that's the more pertinent point. The part that stuck out to us was the fact that she mentions the reasons why she did it is because she wanted to feel good, right? Before I get mature, can y'all get all that immature shit out? What the fuck do y'all think about the situation as a whole before we get mature?
I want to know what the hell an entanglement is. I want to know what the hell, what is that? Like,
is that like a Philadelphia pretzel? Like it's.
Exactly.
It sounds like something you order, right? Some type of food.
Like the figure four, like the Ric Flair figure four.
Yeah, a wrestling move. Oh, you hit him with the entanglement. Like, I don't know. I just know that it sounded nuts. It was so egregious that even Will was like, really though? And he had to repeat it to her, like, you trying to play me? Like, I came on your show. You already embarrassing. They go try to
You got me at this fucking table. And
he was like, entanglement. Like, I'm like, yo, why you have to hit her with the slow words? That's how you know he was
sometimes you gotta let them hear it. You gotta let them hear how you heard it, and then you slow it down for them. It's kind of like, oh, okay, that wasn't the right thing to say.
He was trying not to flip the table. Yo, he about to be like my man and lean on me. Mr. Darnell, you're fired.
Oh, you're Darnell. Yo, but that's true. That's true. When you when she said entanglement, right? You know how somebody gets defensive, like they calm but they're defensive, and when they repeat it, their voice gets higher. It's like, yeah, an entanglement, a relationship. like you really trying to justify it.
Yeah,
that was crazy to me. That's my first and foremost thing. Like, the fuck is you talking about? Like, I know every female who possibly grabbed their head, like, no, like, seriously, like, why would she say that? Like, I know mad women who was like, what? That even like my wife, when we were watching it, my wife, when she said that, my wife was like, huh? Like, the fuck? Like, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Nah, they like never admit to it. Fuck, she blew the cover. Word. We always hear that women cheat better than men. And Jada went to her own table and was like, well, yes, guys, it is true.
Mm-hmm.
It is true. But getting back on the mature train, I wanted to ask y'all, what was your perspective on her saying that she wants to be happy, and whose responsibility is it in a marriage to make that person happy? Is it you? Is it your spouse? Is it outside factors? Like, whose responsibility is it in a marriage to make you happy?
Happiness always starts internally. In general, it starts internally, and then communicating with your partner in terms of how you're feeling is important. But I think happiness is a fleeting feeling. It is literally just a feeling. You can get happy from watching the episode of Martin that you love, and it can change the whole trajectory of your day, but it's literally just a feeling. And to me, like, this whole thing is literally, you literally see love and happiness at that table, because Jada was seeking happiness, and Will, who's sticking around and is like, we're going to figure this out. Like, they both are. Like, that's the love aspect of it, which has nothing to do with feelings at all. You know what I mean? Like, love is actions and happiness is a feeling. And I think that happiness factor is what gets people, man. But
I ain't gonna lie. In the beginning, I was watching it and I was like, the red table was like a place of healing, in quotes. But they're both actors. So before she dropped the bomb, I paused and I was like, babe, do you think that they're going to try to like hit us with some spin work? They're about to hit us with a spin move and go to the rack? Because I was like, they're both actors. They have a massive platform, and I'm interested to see where this is going. But I'll let y'all continue. But I had a perspective of like, are we watching something that's authentic or that's manufactured?
That's a good question. I think what they should have did instead of red table talk, I know she wanted to get her little dollars off of it, but like, you should have brought Ayanna to come fix your life at the damn red table. That's what you should have did. That's how I feel. Like, I'm just saying, if you was gonna do it right. Like,
you gotta provide an external voice to. I mean, I think they did it pretty maturely, and I think something else we talked about off air was the stamina of marriage. Watching Will Smith. This is the Fresh Prince. This is Mike Lowry. This is Muhammad Ali. This is Hitch. Fuck, damn, that's Hitch.
Fucking Hitch.
How you do Hitch?
It's Hitch, man. You shouldn't have did that. That was the cake for me, because Hitch got hitched, and it's kind of like
fucking Hitch.
Wow, bro. That's a wow factor. That was a wow.
I ain't gotta say nothing else. I forgot that was Hitch, bro. I forgot.
Yo,
that's the classic Sunday afternoon movie right there.
It is, though. It's up there with like Deuce Bigelow and shit. Like,
throw in the fucking towel.
Can I say anything real quick? I just want to say.
Of course you can.
So all the ladies out here
in a place with style and grace.
Allow me. Oh, my bad. You know how I do. We're not bashing Jada. We're not saying. So please don't hit us with the. I'm sure Will. Don't say I'm sure Will nothing.
No.
Saying I'm sure Will nothing is the equivalent to saying all lives matter.
All lives matter. I knew you were going to say that.
Because you just lost all cool point.
Your credibility is shot.
We're not talking about that.
Because as soon as somebody else does something to you, you don't want to hear about all the other women that's being cheated on. I got cheated on.
Right.
So have that same energy for Will. All right, let me back up. Do y'all think it's cheating?
No.
Okay.
Is
that because we're men?
No, I think it's universally.
He defended it. He said like we weren't together, or he gave her the opportunity to do what she wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's cheating though. I think it's a untraditional relationship, but. I think, I'm not going to – I'm going to dig a little back into history, just a tad, and talk about how –
Adam and Eve?
Maybe before that, maybe after that a little bit, right? Obviously. Because
I was about to say, I was going to let that rock. I was like, I don't know before, but –
Right. But it's just, you think about the African heritage and culture and how kings would have multiple wives and
the concubine is what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know what it's
wives
called.
too. Concubines is different than wives.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was like almost like a what's that? Like a hierarchy. Like you had wives, you had concubines.
Okay, so you gotcha.
Yeah, handmaids.
okay.
Yeah, I gotcha. So yeah, it's not cheating for sure because no one lied, right? Cheating is when you're deceptive. You're being deception.
Yeah.
You're having deception. You're sneaking around. You do something you're not supposed to do, and it was a moment that they had that they both kind of diverted from each other. It was at their worst, so it was. It to me, I know you asked the question, how do I feel about it? What's my perspective on it? I think it shows at its biggest platform, on the biggest platform, that marriage is a lot of work goes into being married, right? And so I think that was helpful because, as high as they are, and to be honest with you guys, if I even go deeper, it could be a publicity stunt. I think it has some opportunities to say, obviously, okay, they came out, said it happened, but who really knows the truth, right? And it ultimately, as we mentioned, they are actors, so whatever. But I think what they did was they helped demask that Jada and Will type of love that people assume that was just perfect, and they showed that you have to have a little more grit and stain to sustain a happy marriage, and that was the cool part about it. I think, I think people felt bad, and of course the memes are out, and it's just a thing. But I think I don't know Will from a Can of Paint. Never met him in Can of Paint. Never met him before, but I think he kind of portrays as a confident person, and so for somebody who can elude confidence and not be insecure, even when your person wants to feel good without you, says a lot about. To me anyway, says a lot about his maturity. And
here's a question.
His birthday is September 25th, so I mean.
So that means that you're okay being cheated on, Alonzo?
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm okay with you being cheated on. I'm not saying that either.
I was going on the confidence and that. I ain't saying nothing about that.
You gotta take the good with the bad, brother. One thing I want to ask is, who steps out of the relationship better, Jada or Jay-Z?
Who do you mean step out?
Well, the thing is, Jay-Z seemed like it wasn't supposed to be. Like,
but the rollout though. All right, Pete. I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. You got Jay-Z. All right, first you see the elevator. You know what I mean? Solange hitting him with the body shots, and then Lemonade comes out, which is supposed to be a whole album by Beyonce that's talking about how she had to navigate her husband being unfaithful. Then 444 comes out where Jay-Z admits, okay, damn, I fucked up. But it's his most personal album, talks about therapy and reciprocity and all that. And then their joint album, Everything Is Love, comes out where they are together and talking about all that. From that, you get Becky with the good hair. From that, you get these amazing visuals of like, damn, Jay-Z fucked up. Jada has the Make Me Feel Good. Jay-Z had the Becky with the good hair. Against him. Who stepped out better?
I think Jada.
You think that was better?
I mean, you think about it, right? Because she ultimately was transparent from the beginning. And
she didn't get caught.
She didn't get caught. It's just she got caught. She got entangled. She got wrapped up.
Got entangled. Yo.
She got wrapped up. You know what I mean? Because she went into it thinking she was gonna be able to come back out of it, and it was probably more complicated than that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Obviously, but she knows that she's devoted to Will, and obviously they know that. So that was so the best way I can express that. You ever guys lay down and you're asleep, but you're awake, and you're trying to wake your body up, but you can't get up. I forget what that's called.
It's called Percocet. After surgery.
A demon. That's called a demon.
Yeah.
It's called something. I forget what it's something. I can't think of
sleep paralysis or some shit.
Paralysis.
Sleep paralysis is like the medical term for it.
For sure, right. There you go. So sleep paralysis, right? So it's like emotions are something that you can't really control, right? Especially when there's intimacy involved, right? And here you are trying to remove yourself from this thing, and it's calling you back, and you wrapped up. You
entangled.
I think of like some tangled up headphones or some shit.
Yeah, like a bunch of wires together. Like you can straighten them out, and it just takes some work, but it's not like a quick fix. You know what I mean? It takes some work.
You gotta concentrate.
So yeah, man, I think she kind of came out on that one because she was transparent, and I love Jay too. Jay's my guy from as an artist person, you know, and I think he just he wasn't 100 about it, and
nah, he wasn't.
You know, you gotta be 100.
I think to add to Kev's joint, like I agree with you, because they both had an agreement. I think the part where Jada went wrong, well, besides the fact that he's her son's friend, which is like that's a little crazy because now me and him, we had to shoot the fade, like my man. I do think she did a little predatorial, like I'm here to help. Like she almost did some weird creep shit. Like she took advantage of him in a vulnerable state, right? And was supposed to help him, but you was kind of low-key helping yourself. But you had a secondary agenda as opposed to helping this kid, at least based off of me. This is what I took from it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you said y'all was there. Y'all let the man in your house. You're supposed to help him. And you, in her back of her mind, I'm putting words in her mouth, but me.
I'm a beat.
she's like, oh, I'm a, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like she's looking at him like I'm about to get him. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's true, but that's just how I felt based off of her little explanation. And then the thing where it went wrong versus, I guess, Jay's like, if me and you separate and I say, yo, I don't care what you do and you don't care what I do. We really do care what each other do on the low. That's another way of saying I don't want to know. So whatever you do, don't make that shit come back here. And when you fucked up with this, you wasn't supposed to have a relationship. You're supposed to just do your thing, and then you got it out. Boom. You didn't have a whole relationship, and now this fool's all twisted in his brain.
Yo, man, as a kid, I never understood the Mario Winans song. I don't want to know. That shit is real. It is. If you're playing me, keep it on the low.
I don't want to know.
Yo, as a kid, I was like, he tripping. As an adult, I'm like, no, right.
I want to know everything.
I get it. I understand. Yo, but like, I do.
Good question.
That comes out of like seeing like people that we would think are like the epitome of like a power couple. Right. Like go through
goals,
things, still stick it out, because that's real goals, right? Like back in the that all social media and like this culture of like being celebrity hyped is a good thing, but like back in the day, you didn't hear about like the things that you can easily see and hear about now. So now you're able to get like a peek under the covers, so to speak, and be able to see the things that they go through and realize like marriage is takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of patience. Yeah. So like I think it's kind of good to see like these people responding in a mature way and staying together ultimately. That's kind of dope. Now you asked like who won. I don't know, because like we haven't seen, I mean, if Will and Jada make like a dope movie after this, then maybe Jada
we'll see the project, right?
Let's see whose discretion paid the most dividends. But
they're about to have a show called This Old House. They're gonna name it after the
shut up.
Shit, like talk about their life. I agree with Cleveland on that one though. They definitely should have a project together, do something to where they recover or bounce back. But I think that, like you say, the marriages work. It's like people don't understand that it's not about quitting. Like I would have quit. That's the reason why the divorce rate is high. All you people don't stand for nothing. Y'all don't fight for nothing.
Talk about it.
Y'all a bunch of participation trophy ass niggas. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you got
that.
Like that's just what it is. I'm not saying everybody can speak it Monday morning quarterbacking it, but at the end of the day, when you don't realize until you love somebody what you're willing to accept or do or recover to make things better.
For sure.
You know what I hear in my head when Zoe was talking? I never said this before. I heard he talked about Mr. Darnell. All I heard was cheat on me.
Oh my God.
Man, not
at all. You don't got my permission.
Cheat on me.
No permission to get entangled over here, man.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm not giving out no permission slips either. I'm just saying, like, like you said, Cleveland, like marriage is challenging. Thing is, take it one day at a time and learn every day and grow every day and just be able to say sorry first and keep it pimping, keep it moving.
But I understand Jada's.
Nah, Kev, I think keeping it pimping is how we got here.
I know, right? She
definitely, yeah, for sure.
Ain't easy.
Wrong choice of words.
You just found out how ain't easy it is. Right? So I think the thing with, I understand Jada's mindset. Like, I'm just speaking from the other angle, right? Not females, but just in general. Like, if we don't know the true inside, like if she could have been telling this dude over and over and over and over and over and over, like, and he's not listening, he's not responsive,
right?
He's not like, yo, we good, we got money, we don't know, you know what I'm saying? So there's something, somebody does that, is something not happening. Somebody's lacking something, and someone's not paying attention to somebody.
You know what's interesting? I watch a lot of like the Will Smith content that he's put out in the last couple of years, and he and Jada both acknowledged that whenever we see them on the red carpet in those pictures at her goals, she acknowledged that she was not happy. Like she was like, Will had his ideas in his head about what the family's supposed to do and say and be like, and he's like, and she said that he completely left our input out. So he had the picture in his head and they were going through the real shit and it didn't align. So it wasn't a surprise, but to me that she admitted that something was going on, because she had acknowledged previously that they weren't happy for a good stretch of a few years. So I can easily see an agreement being made, because they said that they're life partners. They're not breaking up. Like it's not a thing. But I can imagine in their world, perhaps, how they allowed an August to come in. And then I can also imagine how, like, through the turmoil, they can reconcile and say, you know what, like, maybe we need a break from each other now. And I want to have us to be back to where we needed to be. And August had to be the casualty, you know?
Well, let me ask you a question. This is for the table, right?
The red table.
Yeah, right. This is like a weird one. What's worse, right? Or what do you view as, is it the fact that she cheated, or like if it was you? I'm not saying like her, because you know, they type of tax bracket make things a little bit more acceptable, right? For us poor niggas,
talk about monetizing your skill set.
Yeah, exactly. For us people on the ground level, right? What would be worse to you? The fact that your significant other cheated, or who she cheated with?
Well,
oh shit.
Well, we're using the word cheated, which technically doesn't apply to that situation.
Listen, somebody
entanglement. It was entanglement. So
somebody, you know,
who you let borrow the box? Is that politically correct?
You said what?
Who you let borrow the box?
Yeah, whoever penetrated.
Whoever went to the cup.
lay up. Yeah.
I tell you this much. I don't want Vince Carter going to the cup. That nigga about to knock you into the I'm
cool. My man going. He hurling up for 7-footers.
No, yeah. I want to lay up.
Elbow in the hoop.
I don't.
I'll take a Curry. I'll take a Curry ass guy. You know what I mean?
Give me the left hand layup off the cup, off the glass. I don't want no
having the backboard.
I want no Amari Stoudemire coming through the lane.
That arm in the rim, Vince Carter.
Oh God, you ain't getting that back.
That ball's gone, fella.
That's where it goes to who. See, hey, you starting to answer the question already. Like.
Yeah, I mean, it would. Again, I go back to the Mario Winans song. I don't want to know. I wouldn't want to know. But I think the person would play a role too, though, because if I have to see that person again, if I have to pass through that person again, it's going to be an awkward experience in the moment. So I'd rather it be far and away.
Who it is makes it life changing.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
But
especially if it was a reach back. If it was like a reach back, maybe Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike that you can hang with. Like, yeah, me and Bobby. Like, no,
I would prefer a reach back than like a friend.
You know what? Zoe and I used to always have this discussion. Like, do you want somebody to blaze new trail or somebody that's already been there before? I don't want none. I don't want neither.
I don't even like.
I think the reach back is so. the reach back is so disrespectful, son. It's
the
like
reach back is like, how long you been thinking about this? Like,
never was over it.
Like we had sex last night, and you was thinking about him. I don't like that.
I don't try to think that far because I'll hurt somebody.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, for sure.
But with the reach back to Cleveland's point, you've been here before. You want more. That's like I like Five Guys. But if I go to Five Guys next week, that means I like it a lot. If I continue to be a patron at your business, then I enjoy what you are providing, as opposed to trying something new. But that's just me.
I agree with that. The only thing, the new is sometimes people, it's almost like a comfort. Like I already know what I'm getting into. I know this person. The new was, you could end up with an August Alsina situation because she ain't know him, and clearly
something shiny, something new and shiny.
Yeah, like everything that glitz ain't gold. So like, you know what I'm saying? I would say in that situation, whomever, like the new toy looks good, but you know the old thing is going to shut up and keep quiet. Like, you know what I'm saying? They know their place at this point, know their role. The new might, think that you're going to leave your family or something.
The new one has an interview with Angela Yee and tells the world that he was in love.
I think he failed. I think that's where he failed.
Who I feel like plays a part.
I'm gonna leave on this immature note. Jada, whatever Jada possesses, I don't want anything to do with.
She got the Badu.
I'm cool. I'm cool off whatever energy Jada's providing. I'm cool. I like my life. My life is fantastic. I don't need the type of energy in my life. So
that's real.
Jada, yo, she should have took his line. She probably told August Alsina, like, if I kiss you now, you die later.
Did somebody say Badu? Erykah Badu?
Yeah, she got the Badu.
Did you hear about
her new incense line?
Yeah. Isn't that hilarious?
Her pussy sense?
Basically.
Yeah.
She has one. She has a new fragrance called Entanglement.
Seriously.
But going back to monetizing your skill set.
She's opportunist.
That bread.
Let's look at the track record. You got Andre 3000, you got Common, you got Jay Electronica. All these dudes were insane lyricists, and they all wore dashikis for her. So as we wrap up, just take us home with the Serenity Prayer.
So, as always, I always want to make sure everyone is safe and sound. I'm also grateful that we were all able to be on this podcast together today with all the craziness continuing. So as we go forward and we enter into our week coming up, we want to let everyone to remember one thing, and that one thing is asking God to grant you the serenity to change, to accept the things you cannot change, the courage to change the thing you can, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two.
Amen.
Appreciate that. Amen.
And with that said, we'll talk to y'all. See y'all next week.
Entanglement.
Stay away from it.